Okay, so another video on transformations. So far we have done translations, which is a slide that just means you take a point and you're moving it using a rule that's either adding or subtracting an x value or adding or subtracting a y value or both. Dilation is an enlargement or a reduction of a figure. So keep in mind, both of those, we had to identify pre-image and image. All right, the original coordinates we started with, and then after a transformation, it created an image. Now we're going to take a look at reflections. Reflections are not a big deal. It's There's several ways to think about it, and I prefer to think about them in every single way possible. That way I can check my answer for everything. So I'm going to plot a point. Let's call it Q. I feel like a Q right now. And then say that we had to reflect over the y-axis. Here is the y-axis, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and let's see, we'll find a highlighter here. I'll use a crayon. Okay, there's your y-axis. Now we're talking about reflecting over the y-axis. Like you're going to go over the y-axis. I'm not trying to be redundant, but I mean that like you're going to do exactly as you're saying you're going to do. So over the y-axis. Now all you got to do is look at your line of reflection, which is what we said was the y-axis. Okay, so I'm just going to color it in blue. There we go. All right. There's your line of reflection. You're reflecting over it. How far away is Q from your line of reflection? So 1, 2. So that just means on the other side of it, you go 2 away. 1, 2. Then you plot that point. You got Q prime. Now you could see something like, what type of reflection was this? And then it could be a reflection over the y-axis or reflection over the x-axis. I'm going to go ahead and show you another one that is over the x-axis, and then another one that's over the x and y-axis. Okay, so x-axis. X-axis reflection. Let's give it a go. Well, okay, so we can sit there and where's our line of reflection? I'm just going to color it in red right here. Okay, there's our line of reflection. We're going to go over it. All right, so right there. So really it's just kind of like taking it and like rolling it down there. How far is D from the line of reflection? 1. All right, so we're going to go 1 on this side. There's D prime. This is super easy. Then C, 1 away, so 1 away from line of reflection. C prime. A is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to go 4 away. And that would put you at right here. There's your A prime. And then B prime would be the same thing. You start piecing it together. Okay, so there's all of our prime notation. We have a reflection over the x-axis. Very, very simple. And if you needed to, you could just track down those coordinates and write those down. Not a big deal. I'm going to switch colors, and I'm going to go with, let's go with orange. That looks cool. Now let's go X and Y axis. You're like, what? So double reflection. All that means is you can reflect over Y first and then reflect over X, or you can reflect over X and then reflect over Y. Since we already reflected over the x-axis, let's go ahead and reflect over the y-axis now. So keep in mind, you're going to be doing this with your image, not your pre-image. So we reflected, created an image there. So there's image number 1. I'm going to use I number 1. And then we're going to reflect it again, and in orange is going to be image number 2. So that's going to mean we're going to be using double prime notation. Double prime. All right, so how far is A from our line of reflection? 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go 3 away. 1, 2, 3. A prime, just kidding, double prime. And then how far is B away? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go 5. There's our B double prime. Same thing with D. Same thing with C. Double prime and wait, so that was C. Sorry. C double prime and D double prime. Now all we got to do is, that is a double reflection. You can see that a double reflection will go straight through the origin into the adjacent quadrant. Okay, that's a reflection. It's not too bad. All you're doing is counting the distance away from the line of reflection. We'll get into more complicated lines of reflection, which won't be an axis, and we'll talk about figures that overlap an axis while you're reflecting it during tutorials.